So hi everyone and welcome to UCTV Alive for Kids. It's great to have you back again today. My name's Tess. I'm from the Peter Underwood Centre at the University of Tasmania and really excited for today's episode. We've got an amazing speaker coming on. Her name is Heidi Auman and she works with Albatrosses. I have to ask Heidi that when she joins the screen a bit later to check the proper way to say the plural or more than one albatross. But just quickly, UCTV is a monthly webinar. We have different people come on every month, really diverse topics. We've got a few people watching that are colleagues of Heidi's, and they've come on the show before to talk to us. So it's really great that they're supporting her today. And I'm going to let Heidi introduce herself properly when I ask her to come on the screen a bit later. For now, though, I wanted to let everyone know that your camera and your microphone's been disabled to protect your privacy. Any questions that you send through later on during the Q&A break, only myself and Heidi can see it. So they're completely confidential. Feel free, though, to let us know your school name and the name of the student that's asking the question, and we can give them a shout out. I'd also really love to acknowledge country. We're meeting today in lots of different places from around Tasmania. Some parts are sea country, other parts are maybe in the middle of Tasmania with like very different groups and very different animals and connections. And here in southern Tasmania, where I'm dialing in from, I think I see albatross quite a bit regularly around the place. Once Heidi gives her talk, I'll probably have a better idea of what exactly they look like. But seeing animals and seeing birds is always a really good reminder of the place where you live and the place that Aboriginal Tasmanians have lived for thousands and thousands of years before invasions. So I'd really love to, it's really important that I acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. All right, but for now, we've got a great presentation from Heidi that she's ready to give. So I'm going to welcome her to the screen and get her to say hello. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Tess. It's great to be here.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us. Your video that you made another video a few years ago for a talk in Hawaii, and we've been playing it on our Children's University members portal, and it's been the most watched video across all of Australia the last few months. So we're just delighted that you've joined us today.
Wonderful. I'm happy to hear that. I'm always happy to talk about seabirds. It's just, they're one of the neatest animals in the world. I'm just so happy I get to share my passion with everybody listening today.
Yeah, definitely. And this Wednesday is World Albatross Day. So it's really good timing as well to have you on the show. We've been wanting to get you on for ages, but this week is really special. Can you just tell us a little bit quickly about yourself, Heidi?
Sure. I am basically a seabird biologist. I've spent most of the last 35 years studying seabirds like albatross, and I have been very lucky to live in tiny little remote islands all over the world, usually the middle of oceans, because that's where these albatross live. And specifically, I study human impacts on seabirds. These are things like toxicology and diet, and what I'll be talking about today, which is marine plastic ingestion. So we think that just because these bird colonies are in the middle of nowhere, they should be pristine without any impacts. But unfortunately, that's just not true at all.
Yeah, I really feel a little bit sad when I've watched some of your videos in the past, just because the topic is quite serious and the topic, it's unavoidable, it's happening. But it'll be really great to find out a bit more about why it's happening and what we can do to help. And also, you might have, if we've got people that are tuning in that are watching regularly this year, Heidi is the third Tasmanian that's joined us who's originally from America. So you might notice her accent. She's from Michigan originally, but she moved to Tassie over 20 years ago. So it's been a complete coincidence having so many people on the show this year with American accents. But we've just got lots of Americans in Tassie with great skills and with great knowledge of these areas. So I'll hand over to you now, Heidi. I'll turn off my video and let you get started with your PowerPoint.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Again, I want to talk about threats to albatross for World Albatross Day, which is this year, the 19th of June. And I want to talk about what make albatross magical to me, because they are extreme birds. The albatross has the largest wingspan of any living bird. For instance, the wandering albatross, found in our own southern oceans, has a wingspan of up to 3 meters, and they weigh up to 12 kilograms, big birds. Albatrosses can go years without touching land at all. In fact, if they didn't need to breed, they wouldn't need land at all. Albatrosses are long-lived. They can live and raise chicks well into their 60s. And in fact, Wisdom the albatross, who is a Laysan albatross nesting on Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge, is currently at least 73 years old, because she was an adult when she was banded. And as of 2 years ago, she was still laying eggs. That's pretty incredible. Albatross tend to mate for life, but they can divorce for various reasons, such as if they are not successful breeding that year. They have these incredibly amazing, intricate mating dances where they whinny and moo and clack and point to the sky and nibble at their armpits, and it's great fun to watch. Albatrosses are known as a group of birds as tube noses. And if you look at the slide here, you can actually see the tubes on their nose. So the thing that's unusual about this is their excellent sense of smell leads them to food. Most birds do not have a very good sense of smell. There's 22 species of albatross in the world, 3 in the northern hemisphere, the rest in the southern, and 17 are threatened with extinction. And let's not mince words, extinction means forever. So these birds need our help. And we especially should be giving them help because we're the problem, we are the threats. The largest threat is commercial fishing fleets, like longliners, where the birds can get stuck on the hooks. And that can kill over 100,000 albatross per year. Also, dwindling shortages, mainly due to fishing and also because of climate change. Humans have also degraded the habitat of these birds, which are often little islands. For instance, we've introduced rats and mice to a lot of these islands, and they can kill the eggs, the chicks, and the adults. But what I'd like to talk about mainly is ingestion of plastic debris, because that's what I've done my research on. So this is kind of a gory photo, but it's sure to get your interest, I suppose. This is a Laysan albatross and its chick. Laysan albatross eat more plastic and more varieties of plastic than any other seabird, so great indicator species. And I studied these birds on Midway Atoll National Wildlife Refuge for 7 years. It was amazing to live cheek to beak with these birds. So how are these birds getting plastic anyways? Well, these albatross fly thousands and thousands of kilometers, dynamic soaring over entire oceans in search of food. They find the food, which is usually fish or squid or fish eggs or dead things. They land on the surface of the water and they gobble it up from the surface. And these birds have learned over eons of evolution that anything floating on the surface of the water is food. We've added plastic to the menu. So they eat the plastic accidentally, fly all the way back to the breeding colony, find their chick, and both parents will regurgitate this slurry of fish and squid oil and plastic to the chicks. And the chicks can't throw it up until just before they fledge. They just lack musculature. So they're the passive rubbish receptacles. And the sorts of things I found inside the chicks include things like plastic fragments, rubber pieces, bottle caps, beads, styrofoam, O-rings, wads of fishing line, rope, buttons, checkers, disposable lighters, sometimes 6 per bird, toys, PVC pipe, golf tees, textures, unbroken light bulbs, medical waste like syringes, dishwashing gloves, light sticks, toothbrushes, nail polish bottles, and even those little soy sauce bottles you get from restaurants. So this is a slide of just the plastic in one albatross chick. And this isn't a worst case scenario. This is average. And what I want you to notice, first of all, is the amount of plastic, the mass, the volume. And this is displacing food. So both parents are feeding the chick, and the chick feels full, but it's full of plastic and not food. So they can be starving to death. Also, there's things that have very sharp edges that can cause punctures or ulcerations inside the bird's stomach. Big pieces like this can get stuck in the bird's throat or clog intestines. Some pieces are very long and thin. They may go down this way, but get stuck this way, not coming out. And some of these pieces are burned looking, and that's really bad because they're probably producing toxic chemicals, which I won't talk about here. So lots and lots of problems caused by plastic ingestion. So I'd like to end, reduce, reuse, recycle. You've all heard this probably, but also think about repair, fix things rather than throwing them out, restore the ecosystems, like have your beach clean up. Respect all life and the right to be here. It's not just our planet. And finally, refuse to buy plastic in the first place if you don't need it. So think about what you can do to reduce your own plastic footprint so that albatrosses and other seabirds around the world can thrive without our impacts, because every choice that we make has an impact on the planet. I'd like to end with a Laysan albatross giving the beak of approval to a children's book I wrote, in hopes that the young people of the world can carry around the message of these birds. So thank you very much for listening. And if you're interested in the book, please just send me a quick email and we can discuss that. I can get you a signed copy. So with that, I will stop sharing the screen.
Thank you so much. I always, at the end of everyone's presentation on UCTV, I'm always so blown away, and I'll come back and say that was amazing, and it really was an amazing talk, but it makes me feel really sad as well. We can go to a 3-minute break screen now for schools to send in some questions. So West Launceston Primary and Howrah Primary and the homeschools we've got watching, please send in any kind of question. As you can see, Heidi's got a lot of knowledge in this area. I've got lots of questions for you too, Heidi, around reducing use of plastic and things like that. And yeah, have a think just about asking Heidi some questions maybe about solutions and how you can reduce your use of the types of things that end up in the world's oceans. So I'm going to go to that screen now, and we'll talk to you soon. Hi everyone, welcome back. I had a couple of questions come in. People are maybe a little bit quieter today because it is a serious topic. So we've got one from West Launceston Primary, and we've got one from another participant. And Howrah Primary, please feel free to send one in through your teacher, Claire, or send in a couple. I'll read out the West Launceston Primary question first, Heidi. So they've asked, what types of, and this is from Lily. Oh, sorry, no, there's a few in here. This is great. So the first question is from Mackenzie. What types of islands do they live on?
Okay, well, the most important thing that an albatross looks for, a colony of albatross, is they want it to be safe, a safe place to raise their chicks. So in many cases, this is an island, either offshore or in the middle of the ocean. For instance, the slide behind me is the biggest Laysan albatross colony in the world on Midway Atoll in the middle of the ocean. And these birds are safe from predators. In fact, they're so safe from predators that they've never learned to be afraid of land-based predators. So you can literally walk right up to these birds and have a conversation with them. So they're very gentle birds because they've never learned to be afraid of people. So they want safety. That's what an albatross wants.
Yeah, so quite unpopulated islands, that there are no other humans there, that sort of thing.
Well, they don't want anything that'll steal their eggs.
Yeah.
And they want a place that's quite open because these are really big birds. they can soar dynamically really well, but they're not very good at takeoff and landing. So they need an open space because sometimes they have sort of a skid and a tumble because they don't have very good control.
Yeah. There's lots of questions here from West Launceston. Thanks so much, guys. So Lily has asked, what types of foods do albatross need to survive?
Well, it depends on the species. The Laysan albatross I study eat mainly squid. But it depends on the bird, it depends on the species and how big they are, and also what's available. So they don't hesitate to scavenge. So anything dead floating on the water, if there's any carcasses, they'll eat that. Fish eggs, great. Fish, yes. Plastic, unfortunately, yes. So, but mainly things that are in the fish and squid families.
Yeah. So they're diving for if they're not finding dead stuff.
Most of the albatross are what's called surface seizers. So they land on the surface of the water and then grab something from the surface. Although some species of albatross can dive a little bit, maybe a meter or two, to grab something. But unfortunately, the problem with plastic is it floats. So the birds are mistaking food for plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Olivia has asked, do albatross fly in groups or live alone?
The only time they come together is to breed. Other than that, they're out by themselves, all by their lonely selves, soaring over thousands of kilometers over the ocean. And if they didn't need to breed, they wouldn't come back to these breeding colonies at all. So they're solitary birds, except when they're breeding. And they come back to these islands and they find their mate and they get right to business and lay that egg. Because it takes about 2 months, about 63 days in the case of these albatross, to incubate the egg, and then several months to raise that chick. And it takes both parents to raise the chick. If one of the parents dies, unfortunately, it means the chick will die too.
Yeah. Eli's asked a good question that's sort of related to that idea that you've said that they don't need to spend time on land. They've asked, how do they survive not touching land for so long?
Well, they can touch the water. That's it. So it's sort of a human preconception is like we need to be on land. But these are seabirds. They're masters of the air and they're very comfortable just sitting on the surface of the water. So what's really interesting is when breeding season starts and these albatross haven't been on land or landed on a firm surface for several months, they really lack control. And that's when they come in for these crash landings and tumble and skid and fall over and bump into each other. They get up, shake themselves off, usually do a little bit of a moo, and then walk back, get on to their business.
Yeah. And so do they sleep on top of the water?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. How many albatross are left in the wild? That question's from Harry.
I don't know exactly in species. I know that of the 22 species, 17 are considered vulnerable to extinction. So the numbers are dropping every year, unfortunately, for the reasons I discussed. And like I mentioned, humans are the problem for just about all of these population drops. We really need to pay attention because they're the most magnificent, magical birds. And I just can't imagine a planet without them.
Yeah. After you've studied them for so long, you must be really fond of them, and you must know a lot of really cool stuff that they do that no one else does. So you can see like really how special they are.
Yeah, I was lucky to live right in the middle of this colony for 7 years. And like I said, I just love to talk about albatross, and they're the most gentle and magical and unusual of seabirds.
Yeah. We've got a couple of great questions from Howrah Primary School. I don't know the students' names, but one student has asked, how do the parent birds make the slurry?
Well, it's half digested, which is, I don't mean to be gross here, but they eat the food and then they've got basically two stomachs. But the first one is like our stomach, and it's just this big bag where they chemically break down food. And so it's half digested, the slurry of, say, fish oil and squid oil, and that's sort of floating on the top of the stomach. And so when the birds tip over to feed the chick, that oil comes out first. because it's sitting on the top. So they're basically decanting everything in their stomach into the chick's mouth, and the chick just gobbles it right up.
Yeah. There's another question from a Harrow primary student sort of related to food around why do they eat so much of the same type of food?
Well, that's what evolution has taught them. That's what they need to survive. And that's what they've been doing for millions of years, is they've developed this suite of behaviors that allow them to survive. So they're very instinct-driven birds. So they know what they need to do, and normally they do it very, very well. They know how to find food, especially using that great sense of smell. So they've learned to do what they do very, very well. But unfortunately, because we've added plastics to their environment and they think it's food, and it's really not enough time for them to evolve to learn that's not food, but that is. These birds are in real trouble because of that.
Yeah, and there's another question here from Harrow Primary around, I guess it's a similar kind of answer around evolution, but why do the albatrosses wander the ocean so much?
Because that's what they're designed to do. So every animal and every seabird is built a little bit differently to exploit different ecological niches. So some birds might be very good at collecting food near shore, like gull species, and they're very good at it. And albatross have learned to be very good at collecting food off very, 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 very large areas of water. I mean, there's not a lot of food out there, but if you've got a whole ocean at your disposal, you just need to get to it. And albatross are just expert soarers. They can just soar for hours and hours and hours without flapping their wings and cover long, long distances to be able to find the food they need to survive. And so that's how nature has evolved or shaped them to be successful in what they do.
Yep, great. Ollie's asked a really interesting question here, and Ollie's from West Launceston Primary. Are sharks predators to albatrosses?
Yes, especially the chicks. When, for instance, on Midway Atoll here, the chicks start fledging in June, and they're not very good at flying yet. It takes a real skill. So they're out hanging around the lagoons of Midway, getting their muscles strong, flapping, taking short hopping flights across the water. And tiger sharks have learned over millions of years that at this time of year and at this place, free lunch. And tiger sharks, I think, take up to, I think, 10% of fledgling albatross chicks off Midway. So they just sort of come up to the surface of the water and gobble them up like popcorn.
It's brutal out there, but I suppose it's better for a chick to be taken by a shark than by plastic. Yeah, it's a lot lower numbers.
It's not for us to judge, but the sharks have to eat too, and they deserve to be here too. So that's just the natural way of things, regardless of how we judge it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Marie Becker from the NRE.
Hi, Marie.
Hi, Marie. She's asked a question that's really good to end on. She says, "Hi, Heidi. How do you think plastic gets into the ocean? Is it off the beach, in stormwater, off boats? And if so, how do we prevent it getting to the oceans in each case?"
Well, that's an excellent question. Most of marine debris comes actually from land. So if say in developing countries, they've got a landfill close to the water that can wash in, storm drains, things like fishing industries, people just littering, things that blow from the air into the water. There's many, many ways that plastic can get into the ocean. And we just really need to be conscious of our need and our use of plastic, especially single-use plastic. I'm not saying that plastic is a bad thing. I mean, if we go to a hospital, we want clean plastic IV syringes and tubes and things like that. But most of what we use now, we really don't need to have it single use, just to use it once and then throw it away. Because one point I really want to drive home is a lot of the single-use plastic that we use for maybe minutes does not disappear. Plastic does not break down, it breaks up into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces. So it's not just the albatross that are at risk, it's everything below them on the food chain. And once it's in the ecosystem, it's very hard to get rid of. So we just really need to be mindful of our use of plastic.
Yeah. And have you got any sort of good websites you could point schools in the direction of, or resources to kind of unpack how you can minimize the use of plastic outside of maybe just avoiding buying things in single-use plastic? Are there other ways that you can cut down your usage?
Look, there's lots of websites out there, and I can't really think of any off the top of my head, but if you look at marine debris or its effects on albatross, there's a lot of resources out there. If you're interested in the specific birds I've talked about, Laysan albatross on Midway Atoll, you can look at friendsofmidway.org. If you're interested in legislation, 5gyres.org is also very good. And also NOAA, an American website, NOAA, is also excellent.
Great. Oh, and Claire from Howrah has just said, thank you, Dr. Heidi. Could you please give us your email again so we can buy your book for our school?
Sure. It's Heidi, Heidi, .Auman, AUMAN, at utas.edu.au.
I'll also, I can email you Heidi's email address, Claire, after this.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. Well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Heidi, for coming on and talking about albatrosses during World Albatross week. It's nearly at World Albatross Day on Wednesday. I think they're beautiful as well, and I'd love to have you back on the show sometime to unpack it all a bit more. There's still so much to cover, like about the albatross that might be in Tasmania and how they're affected, and other seabirds that you've studied and researched. But that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tess, and thank you everybody for listening and for sending in your questions. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much, West Launceston Primary, Howrah Primary, and the homeschool that I've watched today. We'll be back next month for UCTV on 1st of July with another UTAS colleague. His name is Jeff McClintock, and he'll be showing us how to do hot composting. So that's next month. But until then, we've got one more Q&A. Oh, the students from West Launceston say thank you. Thanks so much, guys, for watching, and the other students as well, Howrah and the homeschool. So yeah, we'll see you next month. See you later. Bye.